Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back from the deck profile here. Now, you guys know, like, I love that Earth Machine deck or whatever, so I've actually been playing with it a lot because it's like one of my favorite decks to actually play with. And I have like a couple ideas for it. I think I have 3 more profiles for it so far that I want to bring to the channel eventually. None of them are set in stone deck list wise yet, so I'm still working on them. But this one, if you guys remember Orcus Sky Striker, that's kind of like the logic I had with this deck. And this deck plays so fucking well, dude. Like, I'm so fucking proud of this list. Like, you guys will probably just be like, what the fuck is this? But you'll understand soon enough. Just very happy with this deck. So, basically, Sky Striker Earth Machines. Look at that. Wow, look at that. Kaina. You know, Kaina's an Earth Machine. Wow. Isn't that interesting? And obviously, this is basically the second best card out of Bode. Fucking Heavenly Spheres. Alright. Let's get right on into it. So this card, Heavenly Spheres, absolutely ridiculous. This replaced, if you guys remember my undefeated deck profile that I tied for first in, even though I got the second place trophy because of tiebreakers. I was playing two Duracrane and two of the Bullet, and I cut one of each of those for these. This card's absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, when it's revealed, your opponent can't target your set Speller Traps. Whenever you activate a set Speller Trap, you can special summon this card from your hand, and it does not have to be revealed in order to special summon itself. Also, if it was revealed during the main phase when you special summon it, you can set a Speller Trap directly from your deck but manage it during the end of your opponent's turn. Now, this card is a level 10, which means you can Super Dora, Juggernaut Liba, Gustav Max, all that stuff easier. It also can set like the one-of cards from your deck. So you don't need to go like. Also, one thing about it too is when you side deck with this deck, you can side deck a whole bunch of one-of cards that are good against certain matchups, and then when you draw this, you can just resolve it to set it, and then your opponent just can't play that entire turn, basically, depending on what matchup you chose or whatever chose to play against or side against. And cards just all around insane. Dark Rock. Also, people forget you can search this with Gallant Granite. Also, there's a couple other things I'm going to mention about this later in later profiles. This card is just absolutely a savior to this deck. It just makes this deck way more consistent. So, big fan of that card. I'm only playing 2 just because I never wanted to draw 3. That's just plain and simple. And then obviously 3 Harvesters to Harvester. Card's absolutely ridiculous. I already talked about all these cards before. And in my last list, I said I was playing 3 Metal Cruncher, and I said 2 was incorrect. I agree with that still, but this card just, I had to cut for room, so this is the one I like the least. And also, after you're like controlling the game, or if you're in a grind game, this card becomes redundant because you can't normal summon it while you have face-up cards, so it's just kind of, whatever, but still love this card. This is a 40 card list. Obviously 3 Doza, the Super Doza, the Doza. Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that's a big fuck. The more I play with this deck, the more that I'm just really depressed about this card not being a foil. I also, I'm going to have a build in the future. I know you guys have seen, you'll start seeing the Phoenix Enforcer card on my, deck list all over the place because I think that card's just absolutely insane right now. I actually have a list. It's not finalized with that in Earth Machines. And there's a couple key things that I want to point out about that card, but I'm going to save that for that profile. But it interacts with this card very well. Alright, so one Anchor Drill. Still just want to say one of this card is just absolutely fine, unless you're playing. I have another build with this with 3 in it, but it's the Karakuri Earth Machine list that I will profile at some point. I'm still only playing 1 Trencher and 1 Tunneler as a Tunneler. Still just completely fine. The 2 Trencher, I feel like is kind of good. Also, people too that like are just picking this deck up or want to learn how to play with it. If you draw the Lord of Heavenly Spheres, or you draw one of your Floodgate cards, you don't have to use the Tunneler immediately to draw 2. Like, you can save that for the turn 3 and then just completely blow your opponent out. Because turn 1, this deck just kind of walls up and relaxes or whatever, and then lets them play into you, and then 99% of the time they can't kill you that turn. And then turn 3, that's when you start playing, and then kill them. So And then 1 Ancient Gearbox. Still sad that's not a foil either. 1 Fortress, 1 Citadel. That just card's nuts. 1 Bullet Train, and 1 Duracrane. So I cut down the list a little bit. Obviously, you'll understand why soon. And that's it for the monsters. So I'm not playing anything else that's crazy. Good call on that, bro. Obviously, like I said, the Sky Striker. So I'm playing 1 Engage, 1 Hornet Drones, and 2 Widow Anchors. So, like I said about like the Orca Sky Striker deck or whatever, I kind of took the same ratio, or not the same ratio, but the same thought process here with this deck, and it just turned out to be really good. So I wanted to profile it. It was kind of an idea I was just messing around with, but obviously people are playing Chalice and stuff. Obviously Chalice is basically, it's this card, but in this deck, after I get to the extra deck, I'll explain what you're supposed to do with it. You'll understand. But I'm not playing Eagle Booster. I want to play Eagle Booster, and I want to play 1 Shark Cannon. I just didn't. They never came up the entire time I was testing this deck. So, and then these 2 cards. So 1 Iron Draw. This card's absolutely ridiculous. I would never play more than 1 of it though. It's just if you have exactly 2 machines, you can draw 2 cards, and then you can only special summon once for the rest of the turn. So basically, you have like the if you do the entire combo and you do the draw 2, you'll have like the Ballista, and the Bullet Train or the Fortress or whatever, and then you'll play this draw 2, and then you'll go into the Enga Knuckle, and then pass your turn with a bunch of back row. So probably Widow Anchors and stuff. So Iron Draw has been insane. Also Reasoning. This card's very good. Also puts all these just basically it puts all these 1-of spells, just you can activate them and whatever. So you have the 3 spells plus Engrave to draw a card off of Engage, which keeps you going, which you don't even really need that, but also you can set Engage from your deck with the Heavenly Sphere card. So and also Reasoning, there's so many different levels. I mean, there's 2s, 5s, 4s, 7s, 9s, 10s. Like it's very good. And then I'm also playing 1 Instant Fusion and 1 Ready Fusion. This is for Cybersaurus. Shout out my boy Cody Reyna. I still have those ones he gave me it's a long time ago in like Karakuri era, when that deck was just going crazy, because we both played that deck too. Then 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Called by the Grave, and 1 Upstart Goblin. Like I said, this deck is 40 cards. And then for the 3-ofs, Urgent Schedule's absolute best card in the deck. This card's better than Engage. 1,000% for this deck. I know people with Sky Striker players will be like, "What do you mean it's better than Engage?" Ah! But it's very good. Like you can actually normal summon like Harvester or something into whatever, and they'll gamma you, and then it'll die, and then they'll put the 2 monsters on the board. Then you can just Urgent Schedule and just see you later. Card's very nuts. Plus you can set it and send it off to summon Anger Knuckleback and then add a level 10 machine. And then 3 of the redeployment. This card's always very good, and 3 of the Heavy Forward. These are always just very standard. Very good starters. Do whatever they're basically all 1-card starters, except for the redeployment machine you discard. So, and then I'm only playing 2 traps. So I cut down to 1 Overdrive, mainly because of Heavenly Spheres. You only need 1 of this if you have to set it. Sometimes the Reasoning will actually mill this. That's why I want to play more, but it never came up that much to the point where I wanted to play more than 1. Also, people forget about Zeus. Zeus's effect that when your card dies, you can attach a card from extra deck, hand, or deck, so you can actually attach this to Zeus to get it into play. Card's very good. I still only play 1. And then the last card is Rivalry. So I actually chose to play Rivalry because I'm seeing more people play Phoenix Enforcer. I think that card's just insane. This card just shreds it if they don't open Fusion Destiny, period, if they have to Verte it. Or something like that. This card's just very good. Gozen, I feel like Gozen's very good. Completely destroys certain matchups, but I just chose to play Rivalry for right now. I actually was playing Gozen like an hour before this, and I decided to switch over to this because I realized it was just kind of, in my opinion, a little bit better. But it also kind of destroys the Sky Striker matchup too. If they if they have the Ray or the Rose or whatever, the Hornet Drones, etc. They're all warriors, so you can't tag the links. Etc. So, but once again, player preference for Floodgate, and obviously your side deck would have more 1-of Floodgates, and the Heavenly Spheres. The Heavenly Spheres can set it. So that's just my thought process here. And then for the extra deck, a whole bunch of linked ones. So Kaina and Kagari. Obviously, these are the Sky Striker cards. we always play, this. And this happens to be an Earth Machine, so you can actually tribute it for Zadoza, which I thought was kind of nice. And the effect to, stun one of your opponent's monsters is pretty good, pretty decent. It hasn't come up a whole lot, but also one thing that's kind of cool about this is obviously the links are machines, so you can put them back with the overdrive, so you can actually keep recycling your Sky Striker stuff with this, if you need to. So I just thought that was very cool. Very, very big fan of the Sky Striker stuff in here. And then I'm still playing the 3 Goliath, and then the Zibalista, and the best card, the Anger Knuckle, is the Anger Knuckle. I actually had to fit room for the Sky Striker cards. I found out there's kind of like 3 flex spots in the extra deck, and that's where the 2 Sky Striker cards came in, and the Cybersaurus set of my boy Cody Reyna again. This is for the Instant Fusion and the Ready Fusion. It's funny, if you draw Instant and Ready in the same turn, you can actually use both, because once you use the first one, you can make River Stormer with this because it's a 5, or link it off for Ballista or Anger Knuckle or whatever, and put it back in your deck with the Trencher, or the Tunneler, I'm sorry, and use it again. So it's kind of nuts. And then one River Stormer. Obviously this. The Earth Slicer is actually just kind of MVP. I want to point out a couple things when I'm done with this profile about this card. I actually cut to 1 Superdora just to fit room. I felt like 1 Superdora is kind of just where you need to be at. If I was playing pure again, I would probably play 2 just to be safe and have a backup. But I felt like I never needed more than 1. So that's kind of where I'm at. And then obviously the Gustav, the Juggernaut Lieb, and then the Zeus. So I have a couple honorable mentions. One thing I did want to point out to you is just for Earth Machine players or whatever, if you're like, how do I kill my opponent turn 3? So always the River Stormer's always going to be in your graveyard, right? So you always want to try and save one of these if you didn't shuffle all of them back, or it got stopped or something, because then you can like normal summon Harvester, search for Dozer, make this, and then you can send this to summon back the River Stormer. This will attach to River Stormer, and then this will get you a search, and then usually you'll search for the where's my boy at? The Anchor Drill. And like I said, if you open Harvester, you already have this, so you would normal summon this, or usually use the Trencher for the Harvester or whatever, and then you can normal summon this. Special this will proc this to special another level 5. Then you make these both level 9s. Make the Slicer, and then that's kind of how you kill your opponent, and then you etc. Also, the Juggernaut Lead is just very, very self-explanatory. And I have a couple honorable mentions just to point out of cards that I cut and why. So I had to make room, like I said. So I cut the Ding and the second Superdora. The Ding Gyarasu is still just very good. I just really wanted to play Cybersaurus with the Ready Fusion and Instant, because it puts another spell in graveyard for the Sky Striker stuff. It's just very simple. And this card didn't come up a whole lot in testing, so it was kind of funny when I was thinking about like the Orcus Sky Striker, how like to play the deck or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is Orcus, and I'm playing Sky Striker cards, sick, but it's obviously not pure Orcus. So, and a couple other cards like the Book of Moon you can totally main as well. I know this card's very popular right now. You can book your Harvester or Metal Cruncher after you get Dozer, still tribute it face down, and then summon Dozer. And if people, for some reason people don't know that you can tribute your face down. Like it's kind of like the same thing back in the day with like Set Sang and Set Crush card, tribute your Sangin. Then 1 Eagle Booster that I was talking about. 3 Chalice, you can also play Chalice. Also this card too, Linkbound. I feel like people forgot about this card. It just shovels back a Link monster from your field to graveyard, and then you draw cards equal to its Link rating, and then put those many back. The card's just very good as a one-of. Magnet Reverse also, I feel like this card's very good. I might actually play this in a list down the road. So, and then obviously you can play the Imperm. One card I want to talk about that I actually am going to play in a profile soon. This card, so people will be like, this card's fucking terrible. So in this deck, I actually almost played 1, just because you can set it with the Heavenly Spheres, and also, like I said, you want to end with the your general end board is Anger Knuckle up top with back row, right? So this will be like your end board, and then you have a card in hand to discard to special summon back the Bullet Train. Let me get the Bullet Train out real quick. So So like you'll have a card in hand to discard for the Bullet Train, right? And once you dig through your deck, like you'll probably have the EMR set or whatever, but and maybe some Sky Striker cards that need the main monster zone clear. But you can actually Angry Knuckle discard, summon this back, right? Now that it's your main monster zone's clogged, so you can't Widow Anchor them, whatever. Then you can EMR Tribute this, and then this pops 3 cards for this, and then you still get the add back in the end phase, and you can use your Widow Anchor. So I just want to talk about that card a little bit. I think it's worth noting. So I'm going to do a little bit more testing with it, but I think the card's just actually very good. I thought it was a joke at first, and then I started testing just a little bit with it. I was like, the card's kind of nuts. Because it also just takes care of floodgates, all that stuff. So, but yeah, guys, thanks for watching my profile. Let me know what you want to see next. I've got some kind of crazy stuff coming up next weekend anyways. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Cheers.